let's get on to the Australian series. What's going on? Cricket in Darwin. That's always fun. It's been an interesting kind of. We've seen two games up there. The T20s. Australia won the first one. South Africa just finished winning the second one. Interesting kind of conditions where like most players have found it really hard to time the ball, and then it's basically been Tim David in both matches and Devol Brevis in the second one who were able to find a way. Although even Brevis mishit a lot of deliveries, whereas David seems like the only one who didn't mishit all that much. He just kept on pumping sixes. So he saved the day in the first game, made 82 and hit 8 sixes along the way when Australia were 6 down for 75 at one point, and then they managed to get a big enough total to defend it. And then South Africa batted first in the second game and made a massive score, 220-ish, because Brevis made 100, made the biggest South African T20 score, made 120 plus himself, 125 not, I think, by the end. And, but Australia, they've stacked this team, like they clearly have this approach, which is we're just going to go all out the entire time and see what works. And they did that in the first game, even though it wasn't working, even though wickets were falling. So they lost 4 wickets in the power play, but still made 70 in the first 6 overs. And then David goes on and makes that score. And then the second game, it was roughly similar. They just tried to keep going, basically keep the run rate going, no matter what was happening with the wickets falling. But they don't, right at the moment, they don't bat that deep. They've got Ben Dwarshuis at 8 in the first 2 games, who can hit a 6, but is not all rounder category for me. Like he's your lower order T20 hitter. But it's interesting the way that they're setting up with now Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh at the top. It seems like that's what they'll keep through to the World Cup. And the team that we're looking at the moment looks like the team that'll go to the T20 World Cup, at least in terms of batting order. Like 1
more
to
or
7.
less, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Inglis will bat at 3. Obviously missed today's game. And Alex Carey, who, just on him. I thought when he sat on that esky in Lucknow the day before he was officially dropped from the team after just 1 game in that 50-over World Cup, I thought his white ball career was over. And it looked like that for a while. And then he made his 50-over comeback last year in England and then, played some vital knocks in a Champions Trophy where, it didn't really go Australia's way. And then he from nowhere plays his first T20I in over 4 years because of Inglis being unwell. But looking at the makeup of this team, it's Inglis at 3. Looks like David will bat 4, which is great. I mean, because the way he's been used in the IPL, he's like the 10 ball.
Green, they'd have Green for ideally, wouldn't they? And then because David came in earlier today.
Today, the Green batted for yesterday, not yesterday, the first game.
Yeah.
So they swapped those around. And they had Maxwell at 7, which is quite low for him in a T20 in the first game. But today he batted 5 or 6. 5.
But that's because Carey came in. So Carey came in at 7 where Maxwell had been. So they basically shuffled everybody up today. I'm expecting it to be, going forward, to be Green at 4. David 5 and Owen 6, Maxwell 7. I think that's where they're going to go because, Maxwell hasn't been making a lot of runs in the T20s, but he's been bowling really well. Or up until the point today that he had a catch dropped and then Brevis hit him for about 3 sixes after that. He had Devol Brevis dropped down the ground by Kuhnemann, who's the sub fielder. Interesting how they're setting that up. And then with the bowlers, I guess your big name bowlers will presumably come back and be available. Cummins and Stark aren't playing this series. Hazelwood is bowled well in the first game, or was basically the match winner in the first game, and then got smashed for 50 odd in the second game. So it's a cruel mistress, the T20 format. And then the ODI squad, they're bringing in, Carey will play in that. They're bringing in the president, Xavier Bartlett. Labuschagne will come back. Morris will come back. Kuhnemann will drop out of that squad with Abbott. Tim David doesn't play 50-over cricket and Maxwell's retired. Although Tim David, having faced 52 balls in that first T20, would it be beyond the realms of possibility that he could
He was
he could
asked.
do something in one-day cricket.
He was
He's not
asked. He
interested.
said, "No, no, the amount of money
No,
he
thanks.
makes doing what he does, because that will clash with the CPL, and he's contracted with the CPL." But just before we get into one day cricket, I think Australia's approach, it's that old West Indies from 2016 approach, right? You doesn't matter if you face
Just
more
keep going.
dot balls than the opposition. Doesn't matter if they hit more fours than you, till the time you hit more sixes, and that's what they did in the first game, where South Africa hit just 2 sixes. And tonight was all about South Africa changing their approach, and they said we're just going to out six hit Australia, which they managed to do thanks to Brevis. But even Rickleton played differently today. I mean, it was run chase last time around, but just even otherwise, they came really hard against the likes of Hazelwood. So yeah, I mean, it could work out. Australia do look very strong with just the guys they have in the lineup, and considering the IPL or the T20 World Cup will be played in India/Sri Lanka, man, you'd expect Australia to be playing most of their games in India. You think so, as one of the bigger teams. So much IPL experience for all of them put together now. Ahead, Marsh, even Inglis has had a season now, and David, Green. So and obviously Maxwell. So I think
Maxwell pretty much lives there.
He does. He's definitely more Indian than I am, and I've said this to him thousands of times. So, and he married a South Indian origin woman as well, which my mother was very upset about with me. Sort of. She loves Isha, but she was like, "Oh, look, white Australian found a South Indian girl, and you couldn't." So.
They didn't put that in the documentary, did they?
Well, maybe she said that and they left it out. There was enough about my mother in that anyway.
She's a troublemaker. The Australia A squad for the India series in September. This has 2 4-day games, so chunky sort of trip, and then 3 one-day games after that. There's also going to be an under-19s series in Queensland in September against India as well, which will have some multi-day cricket. So it's good to see chunky red ball tours. I posit whether this is just a big 3 thing, whether those are the countries that have enough money to run tours like this, but it's encouraging that at least it's happening somewhere. The A squad, this is interesting. We had that conversation a couple of weeks ago about how the way that Australia A is seen should be able to be flexible from series to series. It's not always the absolute understudies. And in this case, there's a forward planning sort of part of who's going to be going to India in 2027 or who might be in the frame. So that's the lens for this, which is interesting. But not a lot of spinners going. So Todd Murphy and Corey Rockacholi are the main spinners, and then Cooper Connolly, who's they're still sort of pretending is a spinner just because he bowls slow stuff and rolls his fingers over it. And he may yet become one, but he hasn't done anything at domestic level to indicate that he is more than somebody who can just chip in an over or two in a T20. But if he's going to develop, I guess this is the forum, but still seems an odd pick. So they've got those 3 who can bowl some slow stuff, and then Bartlett, Lance Morris, Aaron Hardy, Fergus O'Neill, and I guess you'd say Liam Scott are the seamers. Liam Scott had that really good series against Sri Lanka A, but mostly with the bat more than the ball. And then batting-wise, McSweeney and Josh Ryan, Philippi, Cruel Intentions are the 2 older, more experienced players, and then more the young guns, Ollie Peake, Jack Edwards, Campbell Callaway, Sam Constas, all in that squad. So interesting. With your keen domestic cricket eye, what stands out?
No, I think this, I can see a bunch of players from this group be in that squad to India in 18 months' time you're talking about? Yeah, around 18 months' time. Because, I mean, cricket, like I always say, cricket time doesn't work. The calendar works very differently to the actual calendar. 18 months just fly by. But no, clearly guys that either have performed really well in domestic cricket or someone like Ollie Peake, who clearly is very high up in the selectors' radar. He was even in Sri Lanka. We saw him bringing drinks out, bowling to these guys in the nets, and just all batting and all of that, just being around the main players. So no, I think it's good. It's good for the likes of Constis as well. just to be out there playing some cricket, not have to wait for the Shield to come. It'll be good for him in particular. Very happy to see Lance Morris back. I remember during that India tour that we were both on in 2023, he was bowling so well at practice sessions and in nets. The pitches didn't allow for Australia for them to need more than one fast bowler, but I just felt that maybe he might get a break there, just the way he was bowling. And then obviously he's had injury issues, so good to see him back. They rate Bartlett really well, or really highly as well. So no, very very good squad, and this has the looks of a proper Australia A squad, right? Like fringe players or players for the future as well in there. And the likes of Nathan McSweeney, you said he's one of the senior members of the side, but he's still just 26, so he has been there before. And don't forget, there was also a group who might still be there in Chennai or might have come back on that MRF tour, like they sent players last year. So it sounds like a big three thing. I remember when I started out as a journalist, other teams used to do it as well. I remember covering a South African spinners camp in 2008 or 9. So others could afford to do it. I don't think that happens a lot anymore. It's mainly England and Australia who are able to send these players on tour. And the under 19s that you mentioned, I think the excitement already will be about Vaibhav Suryavanshi, the 14-year-old wonder kid who will be making the trip here. I think he got runs in England, didn't he, for India under 19. So he'll be the excitement machine around just what that series could mean. But yeah, I mean, we say that a lot of these players should be in the reckoning for India 18 months from now, but there might be other Shield performers as well. There are 2 Shield seasons to go before Australia head to India. But it's so important. And I think I heard George Bailey the other day talk about it. It's not just about having one tour to India, but if you can go on multiple tours to the subcontinent, you just learn so much about not just about your own game by playing, but by observing what the others are doing as well. The Indian domestic players or come up against, and you speak to so many non-subcontinental players, and they talk about how much they learn from watching them, just the way they practice and train, and for spinners, how to use the ball, how to keep the ball dry, all those things as well that go with it.
And just being there, I guess, just getting used to the travel part as well. There's a one-day component which has a lot of the next-gen names. So Sam Elliott, as in Matty Elliott's son, Will Sutherland, James Sutherland's son, Mackenzie Harvey, the nephew of the Freak. They're all in that one-day squad as well, with Callum Vidler, who there's a lot of
he's good
attention on at the moment. He's an exciting prospect. Tanvir Sangar's in there too. So there's movement afoot with all of this talk of an older senior team coming to the end of the road. We will go around the world after the break.